Oh yeah, y'all. I got way too many toys, y'all. I got way too many toys, y'all. And welcome to the Open Mic Radio podcast. Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. It is technically, well, currently it is July 27th. It's 3:43 in the morning. I should have been asleep hours ago, guys, but I've got a new toy. I've got a new toy. Let me know if you listen to this podcast right now. When you give me some feedback at Open Mic Radio Podcast at gmail.com. That is gmail.com. Give me some feedback, man, on the levels and stuff. I'm trying to figure this out. Yo. Having a good time right now, man. Lots going on. I really don't have much to talk about, to be honest with you. But I had to do this podcast because I am a wrestling fan. And, an icon, a legend. The reason why Vince McMahon is so rich right now, the Immortal Hulk Hogan passed away at the tender age of 71 years old. That's my Hulk Hogan action figure right here. Because when I went and got this right here, the belt he was synonymous with, the Wing Eagle title, I forgot the action figure to go with it, because when you think Wing Eagle, you think Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm talking about? Picking up what I'm putting down. Daddy got some new toys, y'all. Check this out right here. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. So we're gonna get right into it in a few. I should turn this down. My guy. So first of all, I just gotta tell you, this is how serious I am about the podcast. I went and I purchased a brand new. We'll get into this in a minute. We'll get into Hogan in a minute. I went and I purchased a brand new, I guess, mixer. It does everything. I'll show you real quick. So when I first, when I first started recording my podcast, I was using the Zoom track, the Pod Track P4. It's battery operated. I think it takes two AA batteries. I gotta pick that up soon. And I don't know when this drop falls. So I'm just gonna. It's all new to me, guys. So be patient with me. Okay, cool. So it just stops. Great. I ain't gotta keep doing no doodaddling on the doodaddle. So four mic output. All right, 4 mic output, 4 headphone jacks. And I had 2 of the 4 sound outputs. I'll cut this on. I feel like I'm trying to sell this to somebody, but I'm not. I'm not getting rid of this. This is my old faithful here. Lights up. I need to change the batteries though. And yes, it has a SIM card, whatever. I think that's what it's called, not a SIM card, SD card. Sorry. So I was using that, and I said I'm gonna get more serious about recording the podcast. So I talked to my good friend, High Chief Andy, old Uncle Andy. I wiped my lens off. I reached out to him, and he's a tech guru. Whenever you need something technically done, you gotta holler at my man Andy. And Andy, I like, yo, Andy, what's your setup look like, right? And he told me to get the Rodcaster Duo, all right, because I wanted to add more. I wanted to add more drops and sounds to the podcast, whatever, because I'm serious about that, right? So now I have the ability to. I have drops literally at the drop of a dime. So the last thing. Let me tell you something. The last thing I need are drops at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm talking about? Picking up what I'm putting down. So like that's why I was able to go from Hogan to like. I don't need that kind of power. I don't. So I got the Rodcaster. It's 2 microphone jacks. Kept it simple. It took me a long time to figure out how to set this up. I did had to call tech support, aka Andy again, Uncle Andy, and he he helped me through it, taught me through it. I went on the tube. That's you. Went on the YouTube, and he helped me and figure out some stuff as well. And then I had a hard time trying to hear. I don't know if you ever experienced recording something and you constantly hearing echoes in your recording, and I couldn't understand why. So everything was normal, right? I thought everything was normal, and what happened was I had to pull that headphone jack out just a little bit. Just put the you may have heard this before. A few people, y'all might have heard this before, right? I had to pull just a little bit out. I had to pull it to the tip. Okay, I had to pull it to the tip. And the moment I did that, guess what? I can hear everything. I hear everything. So now I'm locked in. I'm loading in my sounds. I got the app logged in. So I'm good to go, guys, ladies and gents. I'm good to go. And yeah, I'm serious about my recording. I have to be. I have to now because I spent a pretty good amount of money on on this uh on this Rodcaster, and so far so good so far. Before I get into Hulk Hogan, I'm gonna set the Hulkster right here. Okay, you set the Hulkster right here. I'm gonna set him right here. All right, no, I'm not. I'm gonna put him back down. Because I'm not talking about him yet. I had a show. I had two shows. I want to shout out Rolla. Rolla put on a heck of a show. The Queen of Traumedy. She mixes comedy with trauma and comedy. I wanted to shout her out. She put on a hell of a show. She let your boy close. Okay, your boy closed out at the Tokyo Palace. Man, shout out to all my new followers, all my new. I hate calling them I don't like. I want to call y'all followers, man. Shout out to all my new friends who are currently joining me on this journey on the old TikTok and Instagram and things of that nature. You picking up what I'm putting down? Got some new followers, fans, friends, whatever. I crossed over into the 3,700 in following, and I appreciate every follow, whether you're dead or alive. And if you're dead, I'm not unfollowing you. I need those numbers, so we're locked in. We're locked in for life. All right. Had a good set. What's the name of the place? That's right. I went on my Instagram to get the name of the place. All right. The name of the place the name of the show was called Generational Funny, and it was supposed to be several different generations. Right. It was supposed to be several different generations of comedy. So you had 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I was supposed to represent for the 40s. All right, and I did. I did it to the best of my ability. I had a good time. I might I'm going to, when I clip this up, I'm going to make it a point to, what time is that on? This 9 minutes and 40 seconds. All right, cool. I'm gonna timestamp that. I did my whole set. It was in this place called Tokyo Pearl, and on Connecticut Ave, I believe that's the address. And excuse me, like I said, it's like almost 4 in the morning. What the hell? Oh, I did my entire set. I don't know if you ever been to. I don't know if you're listening and you ever been to a club. I did my entire set sitting in the booth. I sat like I was sitting in a section. Okay, and I did my entire set. I like to connect with my audience in different ways. I like to meet them where they're at. The setup was kind of funny. The show was great. The show was kind of funny, and they were a little too close. I don't know if there's anybody that's listening that does stand up or does any kind of stage work, whatever. And you look down in the audience, you're like, yo, y'all a little too close. You know, you're dancing too close. Back up off me, man. So, but no, so I went and I got up on the booth a little bit and had a good time, man. I just did my jokes. People laugh. I had a good time. Shout out to Dr. Jasmine. She took the picture. I'm gonna post the picture up here. Shout out to her. Hopefully, she's part of my channel. Shout out to her. Uh, I paid for parking, and when I paid for parking, this was on Friday. I paid for parking. The show started at 7, I believe 7:30, but I parked on Connecticut Ave, and I paid for parking to 9.59. If anybody knows anything about DC parking, like I paid $4.59 to be safe for those times, and I was like, I can't go home. I can't go right home. I can't go straight home because I paid for the parking. So I went from there Friday, and I went to the DC Improv, and I ran into some people there. Michael Collier was on the main stage. He was on the main stage. Shout out to my girl Pat Rice. Patrice DeVoe. She was in the small room with Jenny Cavallaro, uh, Antoine Scott, Lafayette Wright. It was like one other comic, but I didn't see the other comics, so I only can name who I seen. And I went there for a little bit, shook some hands, kissed some babies, gave some fist pounds, and I got up out of there because I paid for parking. All right. I did that, made a few phone calls, did some doodaddling on the doodaddle, and decided to get to my car. It was about 8 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? I got my money's worth. I got my money's worth. So I didn't go home, and I should have. I called my man, shout out, and said, well, yo, what's going on tonight? He said, yo, it's Lima. Pull up. I'm like, that's tough. It's tough. I see what I can do. So I hit up my friend, hit up some friends, like, yo, you trying to go to Lima? Yeah, we're like, yo, let's go. And I was like, that's tough. So as I was planning this out, how I was going to divvy up this money for this Lima run, I went to the Comedy Loft, and Masood was in the building. Shout out to Masood. Masood does a one-man band show. He does his set, and then he dresses up as Masood. He does another set. That's insane. He does everything from top to bottom. There's no host, there's no feature. It's just Masood. And then I went downstairs, and Gus was downstairs, and Christine was downstairs. Shout out to Alex Tominski, who hosted for them that weekend. I heard it was a wonderful time. And then I got in my car again, and then I went to the DC Art Center where I recorded my first 2 albums, and I ran into Chamber of Comedy. Shout out to Noah Mata and crew, Arco and crew. They was recording some stuff at the DC Art Center, and then I was like, well, I'm in the area, so I went across the street to Hotbed. I ran to my man Dom Rivera. If you listen to the Three Guys On podcast, or the Mind of Dom, that's Dom Rivera. He was closing out. He did some things. I dapped him up. At that time, I call him the champion, Jamal Russell. And then I'm naming a lot of people, and you may not know who these people are, and that in itself is kind of uh, I don't even know why I used that drop, but whatever. I have toys. And so after that, then I went to Lima, and I was calling everybody to see where it was at. And I got another phone call from a friend who was like, yo, where you at? And I was like, yo, everybody bull jiving. I already pulled the plug. Don't worry about it. But they were like, no, we outside. So I turned back around, and I came back to the city because I had left. Because you only get about 3 flakes with me, and then I'm out of there, right? And so I got there, I turned back around, and then everybody started showing up late. And let me tell you something: when you have a section and everybody's around, and there was Caribbean music and shit, I was sitting there for a little bit, and then I ended up waiting. I looked like I was waiting for my date, and I didn't like it. So I sat outside Lima waiting for everybody, and then everybody showed up. It was like about an hour of like, we got to do this fast because we only have an hour before it's closing time. So had a good time, good music, good hookah, good drink, good time, good celebration, and over having a good set. And then everybody dipped off, and and some stuff happened. They were like, "Yo, we're going to the other spot," but I was like, "Yo, but DC is closed." They were like, "No, there's another spot, and I don't know if this spot is legal, so I'm not going to bring this spot up." However, I went to the other spot, and I said to myself, I got to get out of here. I got to go. because in the back of my head, what I heard was,
"You are in trouble. Need to get up out of here. This isn't the place for you. Leave immediately."
that's what I heard, and I had to get up out of there. So I showed up, showed some face because it says a comedian, you got to do the comedic hang, man. So I did the comedic hang. I did the comedic hang. I hung out. Shout out to my man Tommy Taylor Jr., or as I call him, Thomas Taylor.
"You gotta get up out of here. It ain't safe for you. So I got
go." So that's what I did. I got up out of there 5 in the morning. Got home. No one cares about my safety at home. They already know I'm gonna make it back because I'm blessed and covered and smothered in blessings. Thank you, Jesus. And I got home safe and and all in one tag. The next morning, the girls left, and it was just me and my son. I had another show. Shout out to Kevin Skivington and Ben Daniels. Jokes on Tap at the Port City in Alexandria, Virginia. I took my son with me. I took my son with me, and he took his switch, and I end up closing. And every time I go to Port City, I end up having a good set, man. And I just really enjoy. I enjoy spaces where I can stretch out my legs and get comfortable and let them kneecaps stretch a little bit. So I had a good time, man. It was a really good time. I enjoyed myself, man. And yeah, that's what went on. Um, oh, just buying time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a hot second. I'm gonna take a hot second because I believe I have another drop, and when I bring this drop in, I'm gonna go onto the other side about Hulk Hogan, and then we'll be right back in a second. Yo, you know what it is, and welcome to the Open Mic Podcast. Yo, you know what it is. This is the Open Mic Radio Podcast. I got to take the radio part out because there's no radio in it. I got to put the camera on this side. I got to put the belt on this side, man. As a wrestling fan, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. Oh shit, I done dropped my damn belt. Okay, all right. Oh my god, I'm doing too much. Doing too much. All right, cool. Uh, this past Friday we lost Thursday. Sorry, it's Thursday. I was in Ohio. I didn't talk about that because I skipped over that, but we'll talk about that. That's another topic for another day. Had a good time in Ohio. Shout out to the Pilots for renewing their vows. 20 years. I heard rumors that they didn't think they was going to make it, but here we are 20 years later and they made it, yo. I got this belt here, and if you know what this belt is, this as a wrestling fan, this is the Wing Eagle title. On Thursday, we lost a legend, the Immortal Hulk Hogan. As a wrestling fan, I can tell you that this is big. You know, it's big because this is okay for me. I wasn't into wrestling because of Hogan. I was into wrestling because of Ric Flair. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. The very first event I ever got taken to was with my Uncle Marlon. Shout out to Uncle Marlon. I shouldn't have said his name, but it's too late now. Um, it was at the Norfolk Scope, 1980 something, 1900 or something, and it was the Great American Bash, and it was War Games. And I never forget, I was sitting in the corner of the Faces aisle. Okay, I was sitting in the corner of the Faces aisle, um, and that's where the wrestlers come from the back and they go down the aisle and whatever. The main event was War Games, and it was Dusty Rhodes, Sting, the Legion of Doom versus the Four Horsemen, which was like Tully, Arn, Rick. I think JJ was in it. James Dillon, and possibly either Lex Luger or Barry Windham, but it might have been Luger. And I before that the actual main event, I remember Dr. Death had just wrestled a match. I think he was taking on Mike Rotunda, and he went to the back, and then he stopped. And I was like, "Yo, Dr. Death," and he looked. I feel like he looked at me, but he probably didn't. He just probably, because as a performer now, I know he probably like looked at like the ceiling or something to give the illusion that he was looking at people, but he wasn't. And he did the running in place, the Oklahoma run in place. And when he did that, I was like, yo, I'm locked in as a wrestling fan. So Hogan wasn't my invitation into wrestling. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't till later on in life. I remember growing up. I remember growing up and getting all the wrestling men for Christmas, whatever. And I had every action figure, Junkyard Dog, Hillbilly Jim, Macho Man, um, some random cat I don't even remember. But I used to have all these action figures lined up on my couch for Christmas, and I remember I always wanted Hulk Hogan, and I never got Hulk Hogan, and I used to really burn me up. So first chance I got um, as an adult was I got me a Hulk Hogan action figure right here. All right, so got the Hulk Hogan action figure right here, and yeah, so I got that. Little did I know, maybe my granddad knew not to get me a Hulk Hogan action figure because what he would do 10 years before his death. What he would say. Um, I'm kind of I don't know. I don't know. There will be no wrestling. WWE would not be global without this man. It's a combination of him and Vince McMahon. Um, so it's kind of hard to like kind of poo poo on the legacy a little bit of Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea was trash. However, Hogan did a lot for the industry, for fans. You know, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. A lot of people did that. A lot of people. I didn't do it. I was more of spend your money till you're broke. Ric Flair. You know, you only if I got 100,000, I'm spending 900. I'm spending $99,999.99 of it. Um. So yeah, Thursday he passed away, and I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad. I was just like, oh, interesting. And it's because of his. It's because of everything that happened afterwards, after his wrestling career. Like Hogan, to me, was the first victim of the shoot interview era. And what I mean by shoot interviews are basically when wrestlers give interviews about their time in wrestling. Like Honky Tonk Man does a shoot interview for like an hour. It's a myriad of topics about it. An interviewer is just giving out topics to talk about. Hey, dude, how was it working with so and so? And then they just tell like, oh, you know, right? If you go on YouTube and type in wrestling shoot interviews, you'll see all of these. Hogan always got bashed. Hogan always got bashed. Hogan got a pose. You know, a lot of people ate it because sucked it up and drove on in my army voice because Hogan was the reason why the houses were full. Hogan stopped pushes. Um, they had a thing called the Hogan tax. You know, you sign Hogan, you know, you got to bring Jimmy Hart, Brutus Barber Beefcake. You got to bring in all the nasty boys, um, and a few other odds and end wrestlers that you knew nothing about. You know, he fought all big people. You know, because in order to get Hulkamania over, you know, it started with Andre the Giant. I got into it. I got into wrestling. I got into the WWF. You know, Saturday Night's Main Event when it was, you know, Hogan versus Boss Man. He fought all big people. You know, then you get deeper to the weeds and the Jesse Ventura, you know, he shut down a whole boycott, not boycott, what do you call it? Union. He snitched on the balls, you know. And I just say all that. I thought I saw something running across my damn floor. And I just say all of that to say that, you know, man, that's tough. That's tough. You know, every story, the stories about how he undercutted wrestlers getting paid, undercutted pushes, ruined one of the best main events, um, Starcade, Sting versus Hogan for politics because he didn't tan. Like all of these things came out doing shoot interviews, and I think Hogan took a hit. He was the first victim of the shoot interview. Then you fast forward, and then Hogan was like, "Let me give you my views on black people," and that's when it got real dicey. Got real dicey. And then you fast forward a few more years, and he was like, "Yo, what you gonna do when I body slam Kamala Harris?" And it was like, "Okay, my guy." So you had a guy who goes from saying your prayers and take your vitamins to being like, "I don't want you to be with black people." Now, look, I'm not here to to poo poo on nobody's good time. You know, Hogan had his run. Hogan was was the man globally and all of that stuff. I'm not here to be like F Hulk Hogan because the man passed away, and I just as much I am ruthless, but I'm just not there. I can't do that part. I can't do that. What I will say is live long, die a hero, or live long enough to become a villain. And we found so much out that it makes it hard. And I think it was put together, written together by one of my friends. Let me see, where's she at? I'm gonna my good friend Laverne. Uh, and when she wrote this, it was like, yo, this is it. Imagine being a black kid in the '80s and you're a wrestling fan. You listen to a man that tells you to say your prayers and eat your vitamins. You're a huge fan. Fast forward to your 30s and you find out that same man is a racist and does not like you or your people. Fast forward to your mid 40s and that same man is deep into his racism and threatens to body slam the former VP who is black and a woman. Now that man is gone. How do I feel about it? Rest well, however, you will not be missed, brother. And that pretty much sums it up. Pretty much sums it up. You know, is it right? That's not for me to judge. Um, I think the people that want you to forget those comments are the same people who looked us in the eye and said, "I'm okay with Trump. I'm okay with this," you know. But I know a lot of celebrities who have passed away of the black type, and they would not let them rest in peace. You know, Michael Jackson. Um, let's see, James Earl Jones. Um, a few others, even Martin Luther King. You know, it's always separate the person from the artist. Now we separate the artist from the person. Early, that's what we're doing now. Somebody brought up OJ, and I was like, "Yo, OJ got dragged too, yo." And like, it got to the point where I think some black people came out and said, "OJ did it." We live in an internet world. No one. Everybody's opinion is different. Everybody's opinion is vast, and I have friends who are black who are wrestling fans who were like, "Yo, let it go. I forgive him." And I'm like, but would he forgave you? And I get it. It's like, hey man, he passed. So, you know, respect the dead. And I do. So I'm conflicted a little bit. A little bit. Because Flair got me into wrestling. But wrestling wouldn't be where it's at now without Hogan. And, and because of Hogan, and me being a wrestling fan for almost 30 plus years, my son is into wrestling now. So he's stealing my belts, and he's talking about Jey Uso and all this stuff, and we have a connection because of that. And it's like, damn, man, all he had to do was just, not be what he is, what he was. So it's the other stuff. A lot of people are coming out their mouths. It could be clickbait, it could be whatever. But like I said, for me, I respect the dead. RIP to Hulk Hogan. Terrible A was trash. And yeah, man, insane. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about that. But keep it short and sweet. I might record another one this week. Cause I gotta talk about Michael Jamal Warner. I'm gonna do a little more research to be a little more in depth. Like I was a Cosby fan, but I want to make sure I cover his whole career. I don't want to start off. I don't want to start with Theo and end with Theo, because that man put in some work for many many years. So, in conclusion, I'm gonna leave it there. I want to thank Laverne for posting what she posted because it was perfectly said, and um, it was just kind of summed everything up, man. I did the Three Guys On podcast. I talked about it for a little bit, and I already touched on some of the stuff. It was weird. Hey, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Listen, they gave that man that work, yo. I think he passed away, and then like 30 minutes later, even our black internet was like, "Yo, it's our time to shine." They did what this is why they're taking the internet from us. Black internet had they couldn't wait. I just god damn black internet. I want y'all to I want the internet to stop interneting sometimes. Like take some shit seriously, black people. But they're not. We not. We can't do it. It's not in us. it's not. It's not, yo. We can't do it. Somebody my man sent me, I shared it. Hulk Hogan died, and then he shared this with me, and it said R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. But it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I love being black, yo. I wouldn't have it any other way. Listen, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm just kidding. That song is from one of my friends. I won't play the whole thing. Uh, but that drop is from a song. It's a whole song, and he doesn't know that I just put this on my mixer to play periodically. So I just like this part here. All right, man. Look, I gotta go. It's 4 in the morning. I made it quick. I'm gonna come back later this week. We're gonna talk Michael Jamal Warner. I'm gonna do some more research. I'll probably have some more people come through. I'm gonna have somebody come through, man. I'm gonna have some people come through, man. But this is the second episode, Open Mic Podcast. I really appreciate y'all. You know what's so good about this too? I can just do this and I can be out. Bye.
My name is Deja Brown, and you're listening to the Open Mic Podcast. Podcast.